So hello lovely people, today I am going to make a dessert. It's going to be the Turkish rice pudding. Now I could call it a Turkish rice pudding, but rice puddings around the world are made very similarly. The method broadly stays the same. What I like about a Turkish rice pudding is that it's extremely creamy, the texture is beautiful and it has beautiful flavors coming through. Let's quickly get started.
So to make rice pudding, we need some rice. Here is half a cup of rice. So preferably use a short grain rice. It's more starchy, so the pudding is going to come out more silky, more creamy. It also has a better bite to it. Then of course we also need some milk. This is 1 liter of milk with a cup of sugar. With these three you could essentially make a rice pudding, but that's certainly not enough flavor. For additional flavor, you'll need some spices. So I have a 2-inch stick of cinnamon, 2 pods of cardamom, which I'm going to crush and open slightly to let the flavor flow, 2 cloves, 1 star anise with a tablespoon of clarified butter. I also have a lemon here. Don't worry, I'm not going to juice it. I'm just going to use the zest of this lemon to cut through the richness of this pudding. And finally, I have some cornstarch. Now I'll talk more about this cornstarch as this video progresses. So into a heavy bottom braising pot goes in your 1 liter of milk. To this also add your clarified butter. So this additional fat from the clarified butter will absorb more starch and make your pudding super creamy. Also add your spices. Now don't be tempted to toast these. You want the flavor and the aroma from the spices to be subtle. If you toast them, it's going to get really strong. Do remember that the entire procedure is going to happen on a medium to a low heat. Now go on and add your sugar. Mix it till the sugar has completely dissolved. But the point that you're really looking for is for the clarified butter on top to completely melt. That is when you'll add your rice. As you see, the ghee has completely melted. Oh yes, I just wanted to sound fancy calling it clarified butter. It's just ghee. And now in goes your rice. Now do not wash your rice. You wash rice to get rid of the surface starch, but that is exactly what we want, and that is also why we've taken a short grain starchy rice. More the starch, creamier your pudding. And now begins the laborious part. You want to try and stir constantly, if not at regular intervals. So this is almost like making a risotto, whereby stirring constantly, you want your rice to leach out all its excess starch. When you feel that your rice is halfway cooked, add the zest of 1 whole lemon. Now this step is extremely important because we want to cut through the richness of this dish. Now you want to see how thick the pudding gets by itself before you add any starch externally. So you want to take it to a point where the rice is almost fully cooked before you judge how much corn flour to add. Now I'm sure most of you would be worried if the cornstarch would remain undercooked. You really don't need to worry about that because it barely takes a minute and a half for cornstarch to cook through.
So I have mentioned cornstarch through the video, but you could replace it with all-purpose flour. Now the difference is the thickening capability. All-purpose flour's capability is about half of cornstarch. So if you want to replace it, what you'll have to do is double the total amount that I'm going to show in this recipe.
So the rice is cooked through and it has thickened the pudding, but very marginally. So I'm going to go in with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I'm going to make a slurry using the milk from the pudding itself. And now this will go straight into the rice pudding. Stir it around for a little bit, and in about a minute you will see the new consistency of this rice pudding. You see that? Now that is looking pretty satisfactory. It is of the consistency of, say, paisam. You could stop at this point, but I am going to add another half a tablespoon of cornstarch to show you the ideal Turkish pudding consistency. So we are almost there, and this is a good time to get rid of your whole spices. Once that is done, I'm going to give this a minute or two before we hit perfection. So that is what I like to call perfection. Thick and creamy.
and let's get plating. So this is the exciting part. You're going to get a little creative. You could do about one of two things. So you could take some dry fruits, some raisins, some dates, soak them in a little bit of rum, bring it to a boil, and those rum soaked raisins will go straight into your rice pudding. It adds another layer of flavor. It is very tasty, very addictive. What I'm going to do is a little more simple. I'm going to brulee this. And let me show you how to brulee. So in order to brulee, I'm going to take about a teaspoon of sugar and spread it on top of my rice pudding. After which I'm going to place this under the broiler for about 3 to 4 minutes. So a broiler is when you limit the heat of your oven to just top bottom. Now let's wait for this to brulee. And brulee into something like that. Just look at that gorgeous pudding. It is thick and creamy on the inside. It has this lovely caramel disc on top. All I'm going to do is dust some cinnamon or some cinnamon sugar, and it's time. And so there we have it, a beautiful Turkish rice pudding. It is extremely familiar to us. It's very similar to the paisam that we make at home. No special ingredients required. Almost the same. Everything is at home. Very easy to make. And there's a major advantage, and that it stores very well. You can keep it in the fridge for about 4 to 5 days. Nothing's going to go bad. You guys are going to love this. You're going to love the texture. You're going to love the flavors that are coming through. And because you're going to love it, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.